Autophagy has become the celebrity of modern biology, the behind-the-scenes process that makes researchers swoon because it cleans up your cells, recycles old junk, and even helps protect against disease. The fascinating part is that it flourishes when food is scarce, when insulin is low, and when your cells are forced to get creative with their resources. Then breakfast comes along, cheerful and irresistible, with its coffee, toast, and maybe even a side of pancakes, and autophagy suddenly gets told, "Sorry, party's over. We've got new supplies." The paradox is deliciously ironic. By eating breakfast, you provide your metabolism with a jolt of glucose and a healthy insulin response, which is absolutely essential for short-term energy balance. Yet that very same insulin surge is the molecular signal that tells autophagy to pack up its brooms and leave the building. The science here is like a sitcom. On one stage, insulin plays the starring role of traffic cop, directing glucose into cells, lowering blood sugar, and making sure your brain and muscles get the fuel they need to function. Without that breakfast spike, your neurons might run sluggishly, your focus drifts, and your morning feels like walking through molasses. On the other stage, autophagy is trying to get its work done, breaking down damaged proteins, patching up mitochondria, and recycling parts for efficiency. But insulin, once it rises, effectively tells autophagy, "We're good on supplies, no need to salvage scrap metal today." It's a logical system, really. When food is abundant, the body prefers growth and repair through fresh nutrients. When food is scarce, the body leans on recycling. But for us modern humans, who like both sharp morning brains and cellular renewal, the contradiction feels almost comedic. Think about the metabolic tug-of-war. Breakfast raises insulin, which is essential for glucose homeostasis, the elegant balance that prevents blood sugar from soaring too high or crashing too low. This is no small task. Unstable glucose is linked to fatigue, irritability, and even long-term metabolic disorders. Skipping breakfast may extend autophagy, but it can also stress the system, especially in people prone to low blood sugar dips. For them, the price of longer autophagy may be an unproductive morning filled with headaches and grumpiness. Yet the reverse is also funny in its own way. Eat breakfast every day without ever giving your cells fasting time, and the janitorial staff barely gets a chance to tidy up. The body ends up stocked with nutrients, but carrying around too much cellular junk, like a messy house that keeps getting new furniture but never cleans out the closets. This paradox shows how biology is always negotiating between immediate survival and long-term maintenance. Autophagy is the quiet investor, thinking about your retirement plan, extending health span, and whispering, "Don't eat yet, let's make this last." Breakfast, on the other hand, is the enthusiastic friend buying you coffee and bagels so you can actually survive Monday morning meetings. And insulin is the referee trying to keep both sides in balance. Too much glucose is dangerous. Too little is just as bad. The system is so beautifully designed that it doesn't really care about our obsession with always do this or never do that. It adapts. Autophagy isn't gone forever when you eat. It simply pauses and comes back later once the insulin wave has subsided. The irony is that both sides are right. Breakfast supports short-term cognitive performance, physical energy, and metabolic stability. Autophagy supports long-term cellular health, resilience, and disease prevention. They're like two colleagues arguing about whether to spend money on rent this month or save for retirement. You kind of need both, unless you enjoy living in chaos. That's why practices like intermittent fasting have gained popularity. They allow people to extend fasting periods some days for autophagy, while still eating balanced meals on others for metabolic health. The body, in its flexible brilliance, can benefit from both modes, depending on what you prioritize. So the breakfast autophagy paradox isn't really a problem. It's more like a comedy of timing. Autophagy works best in the quiet hours of fasting, while breakfast wakes up insulin to keep your blood sugar steady and your brain from short-circuiting. One is about future-proofing your body. The other is about making sure you don't trip over your own shoelaces today. And the best part? You can choose differently on different days, and your body will roll with it. Sometimes you give your cells their fasting spa day. Other times you give your brain its croissant. Either way, you're feeding some part of yourself, whether it's your mitochondria or your morning mood.